Hi everybody. Hi. I'm here to wake you up after lunch, hopefully. We'll see how that goes. I'm James Wright-Smith. I'm the account manager at Meditech, and hopefully I should know most of you by now. Those that I don't know, then if you've got anything to talk about priority moving forwards, then do let me know. Give me a call, send me an email. I'm quite happy to come out and meet you, or we can do a Teams, or however you want to do that. So yes, today we're going to talk about priority analytics, and I wish they called it something easier to say. But as our introduction, I'm going to talk about the history and the future of reporting, and then we're actually going to do a demo partway through the discussion as well. So what was our history of reporting? So we started off with standard reports, and those were in a format and data that your software provider thought you needed. So they would be a trial balance, a balance sheet, and a profit and loss in a format that they expected you to want. And then we moved forward from that, and we started adding things in like HTML links, and that allowed you to go from the actual report and go and see some of the data in the software. So that was a leap forwards. And then with standard reporting, we started to get where you could change the inputs, so you could show data that you wanted to show. So between date ranges, you could include customers, specific customers or specific parts, and you could add those inputs into the software and you could create a report on that. And then we went to self-serve reporting on a table, and this is our report generators, and they're drag and drop capability, but they only report on one table, but they do give you the access to create your own reports. What we're talking about with priority analytics is a big leap forward in ERP reporting. That reporting on a table has always been a limitation of ERP and the way that the databases are formed behind the scenes. So this is self-serve reporting across tables, and it's not just for developers, it's not just for DBAs or IT people. This is self-serving that end users can actually use and have that capability to create their own reports. Something about the future, and the problem with presenting in the afternoon is everybody's stolen your thunder, but the future is basically AI as we've been talking about, and how that relates to reporting is not just analysing the data that comes out of reporting and working on forecasts, etc., and working out what that data means. There's also the natural language programming that Eyal was talking about earlier, where you just type in a request. So you say, show me what I'm low on inventory, and then it will come up with a report that shows you the information that you're low on inventory. And then a step beyond that, maybe you put in a big quote or order onto your system, and it sends you a prompt. It says, do you want to see what this will make to something your profit and loss or something like that? And it creates that information for you, but it's pushing you to say, actually, do you want to see this? So our current solutions, we've got standard reports. We've got 2,000 or 3,000 standard reports on all your systems, depending on whether you have which version of the software you have. And we have, as I said, inputs on those. We have the HTML links. So you can customize those a bit, and obviously there are many of them that show a lot of information. Then we have our report generators, and that's the drag and drop facilities to create reports of your own to look at data. We have BI areas, and they tend to let you slice and dice information and drill down into information. Very beloved of people like accountants, that sort of drill and slice and dice for information. And then we also have our dashboards and our portlets, and they're on our front screen, and they show us data within the software directly from our front screen, so we don't even have to interrogate the data. We can see it in bar charts, and then we can drill into that information and see where it comes from. So that's what our current standard solutions are. So we've got some Meditech solutions, and we obviously do custom report building. So the limitations on priority reporting so far have meant that actually if you want to amalgamate reports we've had to do that for you unless you've got the capabilities in-house, like somebody like Mark probably does. So one example of this, we have a KPI report that we produced for a customer, and they were running 5 or 6 separate reports and compiling data to produce a report for their directors. So what we did was compile that. We did something like leads that were broken down by customer group and sales reps. So we're chopping that up and showing that information, but amalgamating it as well. Something like conversion rate, so in a given period of time, what status of orders have gone from one status to another, so we can see actually what have we converted and what value was that. The number of unique customers, who has ordered in the last certain period, and things like average sales value and total sales value as well. So from having to compile all these reports, they just click a button, that monthly report comes out, and then they can give that to the board. And obviously that, there's a almost direct return on investment, because you're not spending that time doing that. You can actually see that advantage. So the other thing that Fody mentioned it slightly earlier was our BI dashboards that we've done for one of our customers. Well, not more than one of our customers. And this is an example of that. So we've taken their requirements of what they want to do, and we've done that in BI. So we've produced that for them. So we can do that for customers. The other thing we have is actually in our portal. Those are people that have been here before and have seen the portal, the Meditech portal. As I have tried to explain before, we can take all the information from Priority and put that into our portal. It doesn't matter what the information is. So actually, that can include reports. So if we want to, in this case, do orders value over time, then we can produce a report for that, and you can have it on your portal, and we can configure that how you want. So any information that's useful to either your customers or your vendors, we can produce. The other thing we do occasionally is training courses, and we're going to run some of these in the new year. And there's a basic training course that we'll invite you to come along, and then there's a more advanced training course that we'll do after that, when people have got the basics and they can build on their knowledge of the system, and we'll also give you a lot of system knowledge as well. So I'm going to go into a demo. I'm going to talk about analytics. I'm going to do a simple report and talk about some of the features like sharing and saving, multi-company functionality, expressions, and how we display data, and the new thing in 24.1, which is visualizations. So if I just go into my software and talk a little bit more, that works, excellent. So Priority Analytics was released in version 23.1, so anybody that's upgraded recently will have it. And it's a built-in tool with no additional cost. And as I said, it's self-service for end users and not just administrators. So a bit of background. Priority Analytics allows incorporating data using ODBC technology. And what ODBC does is it allows us to expose the semantic layer, to expose the data and logic from the system. I had to write that down to get it right. And for those of you that don't understand what that means, like me, it means everything that you see in Priority, you can actually get in Priority Analytics. So everything can be shown in the report. Previously, a lot of this required programming to bring that information in, but now it's all available no matter what you put into Priority. But, so if we go into our Priority Analytics, so this is going to replace our report generators as well. You're still going to have the old reports that you had in report generators. You'll just be able to run them from here, and they'll just be migrated across. So nobody's losing anything. You're just gaining. It's fully multi-company and multi-language, so you can produce a report in your own language and then export it in share it with somebody else, and they can see it in their own language. As you can see, we have the usual things across the top that you would expect in a priority form. We have filters and ordering of everything that's in there, and then we have a notification to say that it's active. We have something we can say to edit it. So if we go into that form, we can edit it, and then we can also run it from here as well. But we're going to create a new report. What we have to do when we're creating it, we have to actually base it on a form. So we have to decide what our form basis is. So I'm going to use sales orders for this example. And this is where we're going to take most of the data from. And the tip from priority was actually, when you're doing these, what's really good is if you have two screens and you have where you want the information from in priority, so you can see it, and then you use this screen so that you can actually start to choose. So this is a bit of a tip on creating these reports. So just going to go into the sales orders, and then as you can see, what's changed in 24.1, we have a table option and a chart option. So I'm going to click on the table option because we're creating a report and we need to give it a name. So I'm going to go sales by customer. I think I'm on number 11. And as you can see, we've got some settings up here, so we can share. We can produce a tabular report, which is a basic data report, and we can use as a data set. And this is part of that AI functionality, so it's part of using that AI that's started to be built in to the software right now. So that's preparation for that. And then we have a multi-company action there as well. So if I want some available fields, I just go in and I type in my customer name, obviously, because that's the information we want, and our customer number. And this, if you look at this blue hyperlink here, this is the ODBC working, and this is saying, actually, do you want to look at the customer form and go to the customer form? I'm not going to do that at the moment, but I'm just going to select customer number and customer name. So I've added those, and let's add some other ones. So let's add order status. Should have worn my other glasses. A function of my age. We want our order number. Let's have a date. That's always useful. And then let's have price after discount, because we always want to know what we've sold. So that's our simple report. Let's save that, and let's just run it. As you can see, got a huge amount of data. I can scroll down, and that's all our sales orders. I'm sure in your companies they'd be huge. So it's not necessarily massively useful, so let's have a look at something that might be a bit more useful and a bit more useful for communication to other people. So we can just simply move these about, so we can drag and drop those, so we can change the order of that. We have these columns across the top, and as you can see, as with everything in priority, they have a useful help function. So if we click on width, we can see the maximum width of this field in this report. We're not going to touch that because that's basically defined in the software. We don't really need to do anything with that. But what we can do is define inputs. So this is what you get in a normal report, where you will say, actually, I want to choose a customer or whatever. So we can add in, we're going to put in order status, and then we're going to put in date as our inputs, and we'll see the result of that later. And then we're also going to put in a sort and a grouping. And this is going to show us the data in nice format and grouped as by customer name, so we can see what each customer has done over the period of time. And then we have some functions. We have a function down here where we can sum and average our group total. So we can group totals, so we can create totals, and then we could do a sum or an average or a maximum min. I'm sure everybody's used to that in Excel. And then we can put in date in format of our dates should we want to change those. We don't. So let's save that. And then let's run that report. And here you can see where I put the inputs. We put in order status. So we're going to report on all of them. But what I am going to do is actually put in a date range. So show me all orders that are greater than the start of this year. So let's report on 2024. So there you go. If you run the report, you can see that that information is far better laid out. We have our totals, we've grouped everything by customer, we've got all our sales order numbers, and we've got our totals, etc. And we've got it just for our 2024 orders. So as you can see, far more useful report. So that's just a simple report creation, shows you how easy it is. So it shows you how, for an end user, it's just clicking a few buttons. So I'm going to come out of that. Then I'm going to create a new report. I call it sales pie chart. Oh, sorry. Need to get ahead of myself. So I'm going to use the sales orders form again to produce my pie chart. So I'm going to go to chart, and this is the new 24.1 functionality. So as you can see, we have two things, single series charts and multi-series charts, and we've got a number of useful items in there. We've got standard bar charts, we've got pie charts, we've got this rather nice bubble chart, which I think was kind of on the Gartner thing that Gil showed earlier, but it allows you to show volume on an X and a Y axis, which is quite nice. And we've also got something called a KPI, and that's just a specific piece of information you can show. So if you just want to show how many work orders there are on the shop floor just as one piece of data, then you can do that. And then we have multi-series charts, and I will show those in a minute. So I'm just going to enter a chart title, and then I'm going to go call it sales pie, and then my subtitle is 2024, and then I need to choose which one I'm going to do. So I'm going to just pie chart, and then I go to my data. So it's the same process we've already been through for our pie chart. So I'm just going to search for similar fields, obviously not quite as many. So we want customer name and customer number, and then we're going to put good old price after discount. And then let's put in date. And our order status. So let's save that. I'm going to put, that's our data that we're going to create, and then I'm going to put, I don't think I've put the inputs in there, yes. And then we've got our dimensions. So what's our x-axis and what's our y-axis? So our x-axis obviously is customer number, that's what we're reporting on, and then it's given me a suggestion for my y-axis. So what I'm going to want is price after discount against that customer number, because that's how the data is sensibly arranged. And then we can show a number of results. So in this case, we're showing our top 10 sales. So let's just save that and run that report. And as if by magic, that creates that report. And we can see by customer, I should have put customer name in there. We can see by customer what portion of the pie chart is and what the value of that is, as well as the percentage. And this is the sort of thing that we would use in our management team meeting to discuss our figures within Meditech. So really useful that we can now just get it out of the software without having to put it through Excel or any kind of tool like that. We can just drag it straight out, run that report, drill down and find out where that information is coming from, rather than having separate reporting. So that's the standard pie charts, but we can also use one of these multi-series charts, and I'm just going to do a quick demo of that as well. So if I do that, select that, and then I go into our data, and then I select our customer number and our date as input. I should have put the date as input last time, but never mind. And then we go to our dimensions. We've got an extra dimension because we're doing multi-axis reporting. So we're going to do it by customer name, and then we're going to do it by order status. So then we can show the order status against those customers, and then again our y-axis, price after discount. So if I save that, and then I run that report, then I can use my customer number, and I'm going to choose a couple of customers. So 6 landscapes, and then so I'm going to report on a couple of customers, and then I'm again going to report on anything that's greater than the start of the year to get the 2024, and then I can run that again. And you can see we've started to get a series of bars that are about Sussex landscapes, and they tell us what those order statuses are. So we're not just reporting on orders and all their statuses. We're actually saying, now we can drill in and see where those orders are, what's completed, what's cancelled, and what's in draft, and basically what do we need to convert. So that's a very quick demo of priority analytics and what the new visualizations are doing for us. The next, what you can do is there's a very, very full SOP, as ever there is in priority. So you can look at that. There's lots more things like expressions that you can do, a lot more formatting that you can do, and you can really drill into getting amazing reports directly from the software. So what's the future we talked about AI, and that's obviously way in the future, well, not way in the future, but like beyond plans at the moment. So the future plans would be multiple expression types. So something like date calculations, where you can take one date, so the date that you ordered something, and then the date that it was fulfilled, and then you can take one date away from the other. That's the next step. So that's what an expression would do for you. We've also got the widgets and dashboard builder coming through. So the next step will be to create your own widgets and your own dashboards, and do that in a much more user-friendly tool and no code again, like we have, which is the big thing. And as I said, AI power data prediction. So that user data set is that inbuilt already. We're already thinking of that, and we're already looking at how we can link to that AI data. So thank you. That's the end of that. Hopefully that's given you a bit of a flavour, and read the SOP, and if you've got any questions then ask us and we'll help you out. Thank you.